What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video from the 10-7 MMA channel. And this video is something that people may have missed. Now, if you're an MMA fan, but you're not an influencer boxing fan, which I think is most of our audience, you probably missed this interview with KSI. But KSI, the reason why I was watching all these interviews, kind of embarrassed to say that I was, but the reason why I was watching this stuff is because KSI is scheduled to fight Dillon Danis. And love him or hate him, Dillon Danis is a fairly well-known name in mixed martial arts, even though he hasn't fought in MMA for quite some time. But obviously, Dillon Danis rose to fame by working with Conor McGregor. He was famously at his side when he fought Khabib. He was a big part of that brawl in the audience. Khabib jumped and attacked Dillon Danis in particular. So Dillon Danis is somebody that we've known quite well. Now, fast forward, he recently fought after having tons of knee surgeries and dealing with these horrendous injuries. He's come back. He fought Logan Paul in influencer boxing like a year and a half ago. And you guys remember that whole drama. So he went after Logan's now wife and mother of his child, Nina Agdal. And that was crazy. It got a lot of buzz, but whatever. Anyways, now Dillon Danis, the craziest smack talker of all time, the man who has no boundaries, will go to the lowest of the lows in terms of the things that he will say and what he'll do to build a fight. He is now fighting Dillon Danis. Anyways, this interview was done just asking KSI about the lead up to the fight, etc. Now, in the midst of this interview, I noticed this little golden nugget, which I thought was very, very, very interesting. And I wanted to highlight it and then talk about what the implications of this little comment are. Check this out.
I know we'll wrap this up in just a second. How was your meeting of Turkey?
Yeah, good.
When he's talking about Turkey, he's talking about Turki Al Sheikh. Now, for those of you guys who don't know who Turki Al Sheikh is, Turki Al Sheikh is a gentleman in Saudi Arabia. I think his title right now is like Minister of Sports or something. He's the advisor at the royal court under the rank of minister, and he's the chairman of General Entertainment Authority. Okay, so that's who Turki Al Sheikh is. But the bottom line is he's a huge boxing fan. He loves combat sports, and he's now partnering with Dana White to build sort of like a boxing organization that is going to organize boxing, create super fights, do all this, do these tremendous things to revive the sport of boxing. He also loves mixed martial arts and often comes to UFC fights and events, as well as hosted some fights in Saudi. Anyways, I digress. So that is who Turki Al Sheikh is. And if that doesn't say it, let me say it straight up. He's a very, very, very powerful man in combat sports right now. Okay, so let's keep listening.
Productive, very productive. He's a cool guy, funny guy. Me and him hate Jake Paul, so we were able to bond with that through our hatred with Jake. But also we were able to just to talk about the future, some cool things that we could do, work on. You know, I'm not like...
Okay, pause right there. So what did he say? He said they bonded over their hatred of Jake Paul. I did not know this. I did not know that Turki Al Sheikh did not like Jake Paul. So this was news to me. Now, we did hear this story earlier, I think a couple weeks ago, where Turki Al Sheikh convinced Canelo not to. Apparently, he was in negotiations. Canelo was in negotiations with Jake Paul for a fight, which was crazy. Nobody believed it. It was going to happen, I think, or it was at least on the table. Turki Al Sheikh got Canelo out of that fight and instead got him scheduled to fight somebody else. I don't know who else because I'm not into boxing, whatever. But I just thought that that was a business move. That was Turki Al Sheikh doing his thing, little friendly competition, no big deal. And again, I don't know we can take KSI at his word, as KSI also has a beef with Jake Paul, but I'm going to assume for argument's sake that this is true, that perhaps Turki Al Sheikh does not like Jake Paul. And I was a little bit surprised to hear this because Jake Paul has taken the sport of boxing actually quite seriously, more seriously than KSI. And he's tried to fight two boxers. He did fight two boxers. A lot of people forget about that. They're like, hey, he's just fighting MMA fighters and other guys. He did fight two boxers. Nobody was interested. Nobody watched. And so he went back to more of the influencer side, then obviously fought Mike Tyson. I think that was a bit of a debacle. It was a weird fight. It was uninteresting to most. It was a big letdown, in my opinion. But anyways, I still thought Turki Al Sheikh would respect him, especially if he is close with or having meetings or talks with somebody like KSI, but apparently he doesn't like him. Why exactly? I don't precisely know. Maybe it was because of the Mike Tyson fight. Maybe he felt like that was a bad look. But also, Turki Al Sheikh, as I mentioned, is very close with Dana White, and now he's brought Dana White into their organization where they're going to organize boxing events and streamline boxing championships, etc. So why am I bringing all this up? I think this is going to have some serious negative implications with respect to Jake Paul's future in boxing and Jake Paul's dreams to become a champ, which I know people said was far-fetched, but he's training with the Olympic team. He's taking it very seriously. So I do think he's serious about it. But now you have Dana White, who Jake Paul has really gone out of his way to insult and harass over the years. We now have Turki Al Sheikh, who's another guy who's super, super powerful in combat sports. The two have now aligned, and the two together both probably don't want to see Jake Paul continuing to do his thing. So that leads me to the question of, like, what is that going to do to Jake Paul? So a couple of things that I think are going to be an issue. Number one, I think if he truly wants to pursue some sort of actual championship or belt in boxing, a world title of some sort, I don't think that's going to happen anymore. I really don't. I think it's going to be, at least the path to that end will be blockaded to some extent. I think that Turki Al Sheikh and Dana White both together probably think that Jake Paul is bad for the sport of boxing. I don't know if I agree with that. I actually am fascinated by his trajectory and seeing what he's done in just several years, where people now view him as a fighter. I mean, I think a lot of people do, maybe not MMA fighters or really high level boxers, but I think he's earned his due and I think he's put in the time. But anyways, I think that's going to stifle that. Now, will he still be able to fight potentially retired MMA fighters? I think that will still be on the table, unless it's somebody like Jorge Masvidal, where he still has a contract with the UFC and is not allowed to do certain things, right? They allowed him to fight Nate Diaz, but they won't allow him, I'm sure, to fight Jake Paul. I'm sure, I have a feeling that they're really not gonna want Conor to fight Jake Paul at this point. I think that fight is gonna go out the window. And even if the sunset clause is activated in Conor's contract and he's able to leave free and clear, I just think there's going to be too much pressure from Dana White, from Turki Al Sheikh. I mean, unless Conor is just gung-ho set on fighting Jake Paul, but I feel like a lot of things are now going to be problematic for Jake Paul's boxing career. Let's see. Maybe I'm wrong on this. And I kind of hope I'm wrong, because I do enjoy watching Jake Paul do his thing and pick his opponents. And I've been to his fight. I went to his fight against Nate Diaz. I sat 6th row. I'm not embarrassed to say it. It was actually really fun. I went with Jesse on Fire and one of my other buddies and a bunch of his people, and it was a blast. So I guess we'll see what happens. But anyways, I just wanted to point this out, say that this could spell a lot of trouble. And if you guys missed it, here it is, all laid out. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you also think that this spells trouble for Jake Paul's career? Do you think I have it right in terms of the implications, or do you think they will be more far-reaching given the power of Turki Al Sheikh and just the financial resources that the Empire of Saudi Arabia has? Let me know what you think. Thank you guys so much for joining, and we will see you in the next video. Take it easy.